So it was March 16th, 2019. It's the first decent day I've had in a good solid 3 months. I mean, I've had the car out, but it's the first day to work on it. And I think I'm going to try and get that tank out and start working on figuring out why my fuel sender does not match what I programmed into it. Pain in the butt, getting this loose is pain in the butt. I'm so glad I didn't have to cut that. Alright, let's do some bolts. All I gotta do is unscrew that right there. I think I'm about ready. And you know, the plug that fits down here, I think my plug is oozing slightly. I'll have to put something on that, stop that from leaking. I knew I was smelling gas, just wondering where it was coming from. You know, I haven't driven it very far, but man, oh man, look at the dust that this thing has picked up. So here's the fuel sending unit, and I've had people comment, how did you get the stops set? You see these little tabs right here. So I zoom in a little bit. It's a little tab right there. It's a little tab right there. And you can bend these tabs. So I needed to be able to allow it to go up a little bit further. Sorry. So you just allow it to go up a little bit further by bending the tab. And if you need it to go down, you get it to go down. Then once it's down, if you don't want it to go that far down, you just bend the tab and the entire thing begins to lift up. So you need a certain range. It's got to go from there to there. Sorry, got my range. It's got to go from there. It's got to go up to there. And the only one of these that is attached to the sending mechanism is that one right there. So whatever I've got to do, it primarily has to impact this one right here. Anyway, tank's out. I'm working up some wiring right now. See how it goes. Alright, I was just noticing something while doing some twiddling with it. You see that tab right there? That tab is outside of the notch in the piece of metal. So the plastic tab should fit inside that metal notch, and it does not. And if you come and look at it from a sideways point of view, you can see that the entire body is kind of up above that metal plate. So, I mean, there's any number of little alignment pins that aren't aligned. And then the primary way of clamping it down is that tab. And, geez, I can't believe that I didn't notice this before. But, yeah, quality control. Mexican quality control. Really bad. So I've got the gas tank over here in my lap so that I can flip it upside down and right side up while simultaneously checking out the fuel level. Right now I'm trying to get it to go back to empty. I've got it in the full position, but I'm going to flip it over so that we can verify empty. Let's see how that works. Geez, I got like the crappiest light in here today. Alright, that might take a little bit more work on that end. I'd like to get it to a little bit lower than that. Let's see what it looks like on the top end. Hang on. There we go, pretty good. Alright, I don't seem to be getting my reserve range right. I'm pretty happy with that at the top end though. Alright, a couple of tweaks. And I think that's pretty good at the bottom end. Let's turn it and flip it, see what the top end looks like. Alright, hold on. That's better. Okay, that's not too bad. Flip it over and see how it goes. Yeah, it's boring. That's the way it goes. Should be here. Number of times I've flipped that tank back and forth. It's crazy. Oh, it's stuck. Pretty sure it's better than that. It's just stuck. Hang on a second. Let's see. Let's take it all the way down, turn it off. Flip it on. That's not too bad. I can live with that. Alright, let's get that sending unit out. I can show you what I did to it. Alright, let's do a summary here of the things that I did with this. Some of the problems and issues. Alright, starting first with that guy right there. Kind of hard to see. There's a little white piece of plastic that fits in that round hole. It's got to stay in there and stay in position. And there's another one right down in this area. And if those two slip, you think you're all set, and next thing you know, things start sliding around. It just doesn't work right. It's not going to work properly. Like I say, I had one of these, didn't appear to be even attached. I had two that were attached and one of them that wasn't attached. So in order to get all this stuff tightened up, I've taken a little metal tab that this thing notches into. So I took this and bent it so that the assembly would fit tighter together. So I bent that one, I bent this one. This one I didn't touch. Let's see, what else do you do? Alright, I don't know if you look at it, it's going to be hard to kind of hard to see. But notice that this arm, I can't really point at it, but the arm that this finger's thumping up against is bent. That should be straight down below the body of this thing, and it's bent, which means the entire assembly has a tendency to it moves too far that direction. And there's a baffle in there, and with mine, what I was having happen is because it's all bent, it would rub up against the baffle and it would stop moving. It would just lock. The entire assembly would lock up. So I've, as you can see, when you buy these things, they're not bent like that. I've got an angle in mind so that it will go past the baffle and give me some action there. And let's see, what else did I do? Because the entire assembly was kind of bent, I put a little bend in that arm, and then I bent the other arm to match it. So both arms are kind of, I'll get that out of the way. Both arms are pretty stable now. That arm's got to clear the back of that arm, so you can't get them too close, otherwise they'll bind up on each other. But you got to get them pretty close or they won't fit through the baffles properly. What else did I do? Let's see here. This is going to be kind of hard to show. I'll get it to stabilize. Of course, we got the tabs. You got this tab and that tab. They determine how far this arm bends. There's my up stop, and if I can get it to do it, of course there's my down stop. Yeah, it's stuck. Stupid thing. It's really hard to do with just one hand. So anyway, that's my down stop, and I wasn't quite getting full range on the top when I brought my assembly up to the top here. This angle right there was so steep that the float would go well beyond the top of here. So I had to bend it and bend it and bend it until we got it to the point that it would go. Well, you can kind of see it there. About right there. It's about even with the bottom of this, and that seems to equate to full tank and my stop being simultaneously at the same spot. Now on the downside, coming down. Come on, dude, get down for me. Get down there. On the downside, I'm not really sure what's happening with the long arm. It's really hard to say. The long arm should allow this thing to stop, but mine doesn't seem to be working quite right. It's like I could probably get away without the long arm. I'd be just fine. I have one other problem with mine. Notice that if I lift that like that and I tilt it like this, it does not fall. I've got a lot of friction in mine. Now I can jiggle it and it'll fall, but if I don't jiggle it, it doesn't fall. So whether that works when I actually get things reinstalled, I have no idea. But yeah, I know lots of people have got problems with these things, but wow, I mean, it's just the quality. The quality is just terrible with these things. Now, once you get it all bent around to the point that it'll fit inside your tank, I think it's going to work just fine. But wow, boy, did it take a bit of twisting and banging on it to get it to work. Yeah, what a pain. But anyway, I'm ready to stick it back in again. Let's and get it back in the car. All right, so it's in the tank. I've twisted it. I've verified that the long arm is free to move, and so anyway, I've got the obviously I'm in the empty tank position right there, and my empty tank is right there, so that's pretty good. Flip this and see what the full tank is. All right, full tank position. It's upside down now. Let's see what it does. Kind of like that. That's about where it stays. Excellent. Alright, so this thing was oozing a little bit of gas, so I popped it out, threw some Teflon tape on the threads. Hopefully it'll fix that. Lost control of the gas tank back here. Put a big ass divot in the paint right there. That sucks. I mean, that is huge. Went through, I don't know, 3 layers of paint. I think it even chipped the original paint. I think it's also got chipped loose on that. That was bad. Oh well, I'm stupid. So I just finished bolting the thing in. You know, 4 bolts here, there, whatnot. Yeah, I've got a cold. What a terrible time of the year to get a cold, right when spring rolls around, but yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd point this little piece out to you right here. Alright, the tubes and whatnot that fit up here. Well, this stuff was like, it was coming up on 50 years old, so I got rid of it. Anyway, I've got a couple of copper, see if I can see that one down in there. Put a couple of copper 90-degree bends in there, and some of these little miniature quick pinchers, just to tie it all in. And of course, it has to clear the hinge right here. But we'll take a quick look at that. Look at that seat, drops right flat, no problem. And in addition to popping this guy in, I've taken all of the exhaust gas evaporative system tubes. There's one here, and there's two on the other side over there. I've covered them up with these little plastic caps. They make these for carburetors. They're like vacuum port block-offs, but they're designed to work, of course, with gasoline since they do work on carbs. So I blocked off that, getting rid of all the evaporative canister stuff. All the, there's a couple of tubes to be right here, so this one's gone. Those 2 on the other side are gone. And of course I got the internals all set, so I think I'm ready to throw a little bit of gas in here and see if I can't drive over to the gas station and see if all those changes to that sending unit have made things work. Let's see how it goes. It's April 1st, and of course last time this thing ran was when I ran it out of gas, so that I could get that tank out of there and start working on it. And of course I had to have the car turned on, but I didn't want power back here to the motor being on. Didn't want to fry my Pertronics, so I took my circuit breaker out, so we got to put that circuit breaker back in. And of course, car's been dry. I don't know if there's any gasoline left in these left in the carbs. But, let's see what happens. I put enough gas in the tank to certainly start it up. I don't know if I put enough in there to get any reading on the gas tank, though. Let's see what's up here. There we go. Okay, we got some power. And of course the fuel gauge should go up to at least the bottom of the R. That's about where I had it set, so that's good. Let's see what happens here. In general, I think it's gonna turn over okay. Even though it's definitely gonna take a little bit of this to get it going. Da, 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 da. Lots of shaking. Oh, those fuel lines are definitely dry. Come on, cards, what you got in there? We're up and running. Let's go see, get some gas, see how it works. Oh, I just encountered my first issue. I may have it actually sealed off too tight. Yeah, I've never heard it go psss when I've pulled this spout before. It just let off a massive hiss when I undid that thing. So yeah, I might have to stick some kind of a ventilation hole in my tubing somewhere. Friggin' reflection, man. I can't see my friggin' gas gauge. Alright, that'll work. Alright, cool. Let's turn it on. Get it cranked up. Oh, look at that. Look at that, man. It's going up. Oh, we're at the top, baby. It worked. All that friggin' stuff worked. Awesome. Awesome. Alright, let's go back home. Okay, so I drove home. The sending lever is settled in. I get the feeling that it's so high up at this end. It probably has something to do with the length of the wires that I was using to do the calibration. So, but yeah, I'll take that. Still, as long as it works. It now goes all the way to the bottom, all the way to the top. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy.